Wow, guys, it's hard to believe. We've gone through 17 weeks this year. All these games, all these plays, great plays, not so great plays, controversial plays. We've seen players come out of nowhere. We've seen superstars play like they should. We have seen it all this year. Upsets, everything. Teams coming out of nowhere. All leading to this week. And there is still a lot to be played for and a lot that needs to be decided. Who steps up and is going to move on? What's going on, guys? Dick Support here, back to another video. And yes, it is week 18 and we have a lot to go over. We have seen a whole lot this year and still more to come, because we still have playoff spots that need to be clinched. We still have divisions that need to be clinched and decisions that some teams have to make this week, whether to play their starters or just to rest them. And I'm not wasting any more time. Let's start off with the two Saturday games. Our first Saturday game, Pittsburgh taking on the Ravens. The Ravens, they have already clinched the #1 seed. They've already locked that up, so now they have a decision. Do they play their starters or not? Play their starters, they avoid rust that happened in 2019. Still a bad memory for a lot of Ravens fans, myself included. Anyway, or do they rest them and try to avoid injury? You can see it from both sides. We'll see what Harbaugh and the coaching staff decides to do. But meanwhile, for Pittsburgh, this game means a lot to them because they need to win this game in order to stay in the playoff race. They have to win this game and hope things go their way. I say they get the first part of that done. I say they win this game because I think Baltimore is going to rest their starters. I could be wrong, but we'll see. But the second Saturday game, guys, that's the big one right here. Houston, Indianapolis. Both these teams, they took quarterbacks in the first round of the draft. C.J. Stroud, 2nd overall to the Texans. Anthony Richardson, 4th overall to the Colts. These seasons have gone completely different ways, and yet they're both here together to where they win, you're in. Indianapolis, Anthony Richardson got the start to start the season, and he played well, but he got hurt. And then Gardner Minshew takes over, and guess what? Gardner Minshew just does what Gardner Minshew does best. Play well when no one's expecting it. And now he's got the Colts in prime position to get a playoff spot. The only thing in their way, the Texans, who no one expected them to be here. They were expecting the Texans to fight for the #1 overall pick for the Cardinals, not fight for a playoff spot. This is absolutely insane. C.J. Stroud, I knew he was going to be good. I didn't think he was going to be this good. This might be the best QB rookie season of all time if he gets the Texans in the playoffs. Heck, this might already be the best QB rookie season of all time. He's played amazing since day one. This is just nuts. And you know what? I say C.J. Stroud and the Texans get the job done. I say they beat the Indianapolis Colts to get into the playoffs. Yeah, I'm picking them. Now, big question. Do they win the division? We'll find out later. Tampa Bay taking on Carolina. Tampa Bay, they let a prime opportunity slip away for them to basically have a relaxed Week 18. They lost to New Orleans, so now they have to win against Carolina. Lucky for them, Carolina has not played well all year long. Bryce Young has just gotten killed by this offensive line. Give me Tampa Bay. Cleveland taking on Cincinnati. This is essentially a nothing game. Cleveland is locked into the 5th seed. Cincinnati, they're out of the playoffs. This is essentially for pride. Cincinnati, they have not beaten an AFC North opponent all year long. If they don't win this game, they go 0-6 in their own division. For Cleveland, how did they get to the playoffs? Seriously, how did they do what they did this year? They had injuries galore. They played 4 different quarterbacks. Heck, Joe Flacco is starting for them, and yet they won more than 10 games, are in the playoffs, and could make a run if things go their way. How? Just how did the Browns do this? I don't know. I say they get the win. Minnesota taking on Detroit. For Detroit, you think, okay, they lost, they have nothing to play for. Wrong. They are still in it for the number 2 seed, and you may think, well, you don't have a bye anymore. Why does this matter? It's 2 guaranteed home games. And if I'm the Lions, if they have the Eagles and the Cowboys lose this week, they get the number 2 seed with a win over Minnesota. That's more than enough reason for them to play their starters. Minnesota, even with the loss to the Packers, they can still get into the playoffs, but they need a win and a lot to go their way. I don't think they get the win. I'm going with the Lions. Jets taking on New England. Both these teams, they've been out of the playoffs for the last few weeks. Essentially a pride game, and New England has pretty much killed the Jets for a long time now. I don't think that changes. Give me the Patriots. Atlanta taking on New Orleans. Both these teams are still in it for the playoffs. For New Orleans, they win and the Buccaneers lose, they get the division. For Atlanta, they get a win and things go their way, they could get the final wildcard spot. I'm going to go with New Orleans on this one, but they do not get the division. That's going to Tampa Bay. Jacksonville taking on Tennessee. Jacksonville, how did you get down to this? A few weeks ago, you were fighting for the number 1 seed. And then you play 3 straight games against AFC North teams and pretty much fell off the edge of a cliff. You cannot lose this game to Tennessee. You lose this game, you not only will not get the division, you are in danger of not making the playoffs. Heck, you're not making the playoffs if you lose this game. Get it done, get the win over Tennessee, get to the playoffs, and see what happens. You blow this, you're in the running for biggest collapse in NFL history. That is no joke. Seattle taking on Arizona. How did the Cardinals beat both the Cowboys and the Eagles and only win 2 other games this year? How? I told you this season has been chaotic all year long, and this exemplifies it. How did the Cardinals do it? And by the way, another win of theirs was against the Steelers. How? It just doesn't make sense. And for Seattle, they had a prime opportunity to just win their last 2 when they were in the playoffs. Now they got to win this game and hope things go their way so that they can get in. I say they get the job done. I say they get the win against the Cardinals. But again, they need things to go their way. Chicago taking on Green Bay. Green Bay, midway through the season, people thought you were dead in the water. And now, win, you're in. And in order to get this win, you have to beat a team that you have been beaten up on the last few years. Even earlier this year, you had a come from behind win against them. But this is a different Bears team. Justin Fields has been playing really good football lately and is going to make this Bears decision of what they do with this first overall pick a tough one. So, a win against the Packers to knock them out of the playoffs essentially, that just might put it over the top. Can he get it done? Or will the Packers get to the playoffs? I'm going to go with the Packers. I say they get it done. Chiefs taking on the Chargers. Chiefs, they are locked into the number 3 seed, already won the AFC West. There's really nothing they can do. They might just decide to sit their starters. The Chargers, man, the Chargers. They've been out of it for a while. They don't have their quarterback, or their head coach, or their GM, or a few of the wide receivers, or, you know what, I'm going to go on for an hour if I keep doing this. Anyway, this has been a disappointing season for the Chargers. There's no other way around it. They should not have kept Brandon Staley. This is a talented team. They should be fighting for a playoff spot, not out of the playoff race entirely. It's been disappointing. I'm just going to go with the Chiefs, even though, I don't know. I'm just going to go with them. Denver taking on the Raiders. For Denver, that loss to New England really hurt them. Really, really hurt them. And now they benched Russell Wilson for Jarrett Stidham. I don't know what's going on with this team. I don't think anybody does. And for the Raiders, they have been playing much better since Josh McDaniels was fired. We'll see if Antonio Pierce becomes the permanent head coach. I think he's earned it. And I think the Raiders get this win. I actually think they beat the Broncos. A little bit of a shocker? Maybe not. Philadelphia taking on the Giants. If Philadelphia somehow manages to lose to the Giants, I'm going to laugh so hard. I might lose my voice. They better get this done. Really, they need a win and for the Cowboys to lose. More on that later. Philadelphia, what the heck is going on with you? How did you lose to the Cardinals? How? Just how? Gonna go with them. Don't blow it. Rams taking on the 49ers. This one is a tough one because both these teams, they are essentially locked into where they are. The Rams are locked into the 6th seed. The 49ers clinched the number 1 seed. So do both these teams rest their starters? Do only one of them rest their starters? I don't know what these teams are going to do. I'm just going to go with the 49ers. Just going to go with them. Okay, here's the Dallas game. They're taking on the Commanders. And for the Commanders, I think their fans are just waiting to see if Ron Rivera gets fired after this game. Which I would think most likely is going to happen because Ron Rivera has not gotten this team really any better since he took over. But enough on them. Let's talk about the Cowboys. Win, you get the division and the number 2 seed. That's all you have to do, Dallas. Just win this game and you get 2 guaranteed home playoff games, which is big for them because they've been playing better at home than on the road. I told you, it's a big deal. Just get the win. If you blow this game, and if the Eagles blow the game against the Giants, I might die from laughing if both of those were to happen. And then the Lions end up winning and get the number 2 seed. Hey, we've seen crazier things happen this year, guys. We have. And the final game, guys, this is for all the marbles. The final game of the regular season. Buffalo, Miami. This one is for the AFC East and the number 2 seed. For Buffalo, at one point they were 500. We were all wondering if they could even get to the playoffs. Now, to be in this scenario, it's amazing. It really is amazing for the Bills. And for the Dolphins, I don't know, guys. I don't know how this happened because not too long ago we would have thought they would have had this division locked up and be fighting for the number 1 seed. But what ended up happening was they got trounced by the Ravens. So now they're in this situation and it's not looking good right now. But things change week to week. We all know that. And Miami still has an explosive offense. Hopefully Tyreek Hill's okay. Hopefully they get Waddle back. Hopefully Achane is on top of his game. Hopefully Tua's on top of his game. Now losing Bradley Chubb to a torn ACL late in that game, that hurts them. Because they were already without Jalen Phillips. We have no idea what's going on with Xavier Howard. So really, it looks like it's in the Bills' favor. But I'm going to go with the Dolphins. I say they rally together, they get the win, they get the division, they get the number 2 seed, and they get ready for next week. That's what I'm going with. Going with the Dolphins. We'll see if I'm right. Alright guys, those were my picks for Week 18 of the 2023-24 NFL season. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Happy New Year to everyone. And as always, I will see you guys next time.